started?
Yes, and my camera's froze. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. There it is. What's up, peoples? Every gamer here, and we're back reacting to some scary stuff featuring my cousin Maya.
Hey.
Okay, let's get this started because like last time it was extra scary. I think I threw the phone. Not for real.
Let me.
About 10 years ago, my 3-year-old son and I moved to a house from our apartment. It was a very old building, and the inside of the house always seemed to be just a little darker and just a little colder than it should have been. Not long after we moved in, a friend of mine came to visit. The whole time we were sitting and talking, she seemed very uncomfortable. When I looked at her face, I noticed that something in the other room had caught her attention. Her eyes grew wide, and she said, "I have to go." I asked her what was wrong, but she refused to tell me. Her odd reaction was freaking me out, so I kept after her. On her way out the door, she finally blurted out, "This house is haunted." But she wouldn't tell me what it was, or what made her think so. To this day, she still refuses to tell me what she saw. About a week later, my 3-year-old son casually asked me who the old lady in the bathroom was. One day, I was leaving my house for work, and I got to the car and I realized I needed to run back in the house to get something. I walked into the house, and as soon as I got inside, this framed photo on the wall shot off the wall. It didn't fall down. It shot horizontally away from the wall, and it landed on a mosaic table with enough force to break some of the tiles off of it. I felt like whatever was in the house was pissed, and that I came back in after it thought I had left for the day. After living in the house for about 6 months, I noticed a weird square cut into the boards on the deck. There was no handle, but I was able to pry it up. The hole was just big enough to fit through, and there was a ladder going down. For some reason, I went down and I found myself in what looked like a homemade basement. It was basically just a room dug out of the earth, with no constructed walls or stone supports.
Hold on, why all white people in scary movies gotta investigate?
They do too much.
Exactly, and then end up tripping over air. Too much. Watch this man trip over air, just like the people.
Or anything like that. It was very dark, but I could see something over in the corner. It was a suspicious-looking stone. It looked like one of those old headstones you see in cemeteries. Just then, some insects started jumping on me, so I got out of the basement as fast as I could and never went back. Now this is the part that affected me the most. It's also the reason we left the house. One night I was in bed laying on my stomach just about to fall asleep, and I heard someone walk into my room.
Oh no.
The footsteps came from the doorway over to my bed.
Look at them things.
I didn't realize until later that the fact that I heard the footsteps was weird because the room was carpeted. When the footsteps reached my bed, I felt someone put their hands on my back. 2 hands, just gently laid flat on my back and kept me there. I assumed it was my son.
Nah, Medusa.
"What are you doing?" I asked, but there was no answer. I looked up. No one was there. I got up and checked my son's bedroom.
What the fuck?
He was in bed, fast asleep. We moved out soon after that, and we never looked back.
See, look, all these stories so far have happy endings. Oh my god. As soon as I say happy endings. Oh my god. Be back in like 2 seconds.
And we're back.
I can already tell these stories now. Oh, not. Oh, snap.
It was the night of Christmas Eve. and I decided to take a walk while the snow was coming down. I love to do that during the Christmas season, just to see all of the beautiful decorations and lights that lit the city, which normally was quite dull and lugubrious and low-key.
Hold on, is
due
that a
to
word?
the small population of the
Hold
city
on.
that I lived in at that time. Christmas was the time when the city came
Who
to
knows?
life, and I loved it. As I arrived into town, it was busy due to all of the shoppers that were picking up those last-minute Christmas presents. As I glided past the Christmas carolers that stood on the side of the sidewalk singing, their voices beautifully echoing about here and there, as children played nearby. Laughing and having snowball fights added more of that Christmassy feeling to the jolly atmosphere. It reminded me of that special childhood time that I had growing up as a kid. I missed that. As my eyes glanced up at the icicles that hung from the leafless trees overhead, I decided to cross the street to get me a cup of eggnog that was being sold at one of those stands. But as soon as I started to cross the street, out of nowhere came a large red pickup truck speeding past me, coming mere inches away from hitting me. I then found myself flat on my back, then being helped up to my feet by no other than Santa Claus himself, or should I say, a man dressed like him. "Thank you, Santa," I said to him. He gave a little hint of a smile and nodded. Then he reached into his large red bag and pulled out a box that was wrapped beautifully in gold Christmas paper. I thanked him and headed back home. Halfway home, suddenly I heard bells and the sound of hooves pounding the pavement behind me. When I turned around, there was Santa on his sleigh with reindeer leading the way. And up they went, overhead and over the houses, vanishing quickly into the distance. I must have been a little shooken up from my fall and was hallucinating. Santa Claus? Flying reindeer?
Hold on.
When I
Santa Claus?
Flying reindeer?
finally arrived home, I tossed the present under the Christmas tree and headed off to bed. Christmas morning had arrived, and I was excited to see the contents of the gift that Santa had given me. I ripped open the gift as if I were a 5-year-old child again, but all that was inside was a piece of paper, some sort of certificate. When I read it, the look of horror displayed on my face. It was a death certificate that was dated the night prior, and it had my name on it. I dropped the box as my eyes shifted toward the mirror that hung above my fireplace. There was no reflection of me, not even a shadow. I was dead. I had been struck by that truck last night and didn't even know that I had died. Suddenly, there was a knock at my door, so I opened it. There stood the same Santa Claus that helped me up and gave me the present. Is this some sort of sick joke and a magical illusion? I yelled in anger at him. His mouth finally opened as his baritone and raspy voice told me that I had to come with him. He then removed his Santa suit, revealing his true identity. The Grim Reaper.
What the fur?
Oh, that's it, mate. Another one? Nope.
That's it.
That's it. Yo, comment down below part 3 if you want me to do another one with this ugly girl right here. And then, after I edit this, see you guys in the next video.
Bye-bye.